I really enjoy movies that take place in one location and have maybe one or two cast members. And one of my favorites of that genre is Locke with Tom Hardy and Buried with Ryan Reynolds. And when I came in to watch this film, I thought I'm going into something similar. And boy, was I surprised. We should discuss Oxygen. This is a Netflix film that just came out, directed by Alexandre Aja, who I love for making films like Horns with Daniel Radcliffe and Crawl, which was a surprisingly amazing, gripping, and terrifying horror film, and features Melanie Laurent. She's the main cast. The basic premise is that a woman wakes up with no recollection of who she is in a cryogenic chamber that is depleting oxygen at a very fast rate. And she has an AI assistant similar to Alexa called Milo. And she needs to figure out who she is, where she is, and how to get herself out of this particular situation. It is something that we have seen a few times and done extremely well. And as I mentioned to before, Buried with Ryan Reynolds is one of those premises. If you haven't seen that movie, check it out. The basics of having the main cast wake up without the memory of who they are, where they are, and why they are there is somewhat well explored. And I feel this film throws a few curves at us, and I enjoyed that. I'm gonna be honest, this movie has plot holes that are very large and very obvious, and it's telegraphing the audience what the film is actually all about, who the characters are, and this investigation that the main character Liz is doing is interesting, but also limited to what her AI can tell her about where she is and who she is and why she's there, as well as the situation of claustrophobia, being trapped in a cryogenic chamber and not being able to get out. It's interesting, compelling, emotional, but it has certain faults. In order for a movie of this kind to work, where you have only one character that is trapped and needs to make smart choices, you need a compelling character that you can relate to, that is likable and charismatic. And despite the strongest effort by Melanie Laurent, who I loved in Inglourious Basterds, I feel there's a huge gap between liking this character and what we actually see on screen. In fact, the first 10, 15, 20 minutes, I had a very tough time liking the character at all and being able to handle their tantrums, their exaggerated emotional outbursts, and of course, you completely understand why that is happening, but at the same time, it doesn't build a likable character. Later on, as you start to discover with the character where she comes from, why she's there, who are her emotional connections to, you start caring a little bit. But towards the end of the film, I still didn't feel much. I know the film had a build-up towards what's going to happen, who is this person, what's the secret if there is any, and how they're going to get out of the situation. And for this type of movie where you don't feel, oh my god, this was amazing, they survived kind of feeling, where you don't feel that much care for are they going to make it or not, I feel the movie didn't deliver what it was supposed to, despite having interesting storytelling twists and turns.
Good God, Cardwell's a donkey.
Normally he's a donkey, but tonight he was brilliant.
That's a miracle. What a miracle.
Despite very good directing choices and different ways that you can actually shoot somebody being trapped in a cryogenic chamber, and very good performances, I felt that the writing and the different plot twists is where this movie fails and actually makes it drag longer than it should. I felt that other movies have done such a much better job in showing a charismatic character in a dire situation and making the audience engaged in what's going to happen to them. Think of films like Gravity, for example. You can develop a lot of plot by conversations, and discoveries about why the characters in this situation. In this case, I honestly felt the movie missed the mark, even though it had such amazing elements and very good, strong visuals.
What about the call?
Give me the number
He's
first.
gonna hang up?
Take the call.
I can,
That's okay, just take the call.
Hello? Hello?
The other thing that I think the movie is missing is sticking with something and following it through. As you are discovering what's happening to the character, there's more and more elements added to why the character is in this situation, and it keeps adding to a premise over and over, where you have a layered cake that's basically not as tasteful as the cook expects it to be. And the interesting element that you think this movie is going to bring is the AI. It's the other main character that's in the cryogenic chamber that is helping Liz discover who she is and why she's there. And that AI was not as smart and as intelligent as you would imagine it could be. In fact, my Google Assistant on my Android phone is way smarter and can do more things than this super advanced assistant that's supposed to help you out, especially in this kind of situation. So that was very disappointing and frustrating that we have this secondary character that actually is a drawback from the entire cast of two.
You woke up in the infirmary. You suffered minor brain damage and memory loss. I kept you under observation and ran some tests.
I remember. Yeah, I remember that.
So we're left with a movie that has an interesting premise, is directed well, acted fantastically by Melanie Laurent, with an interesting score and a very compelling premise. And for people like myself that enjoy the premise of one person trapped in a life or death situation, I honestly feel the movie doesn't actually deliver on creating a charismatic character that you want to see succeed. The AI assistant that's supposed to enhance the whole storytelling is actually a huge drawback. The plot holes in this film are humongous and distract from the actual emotional resolution that we should be having at the end. That being said, was I entertained? Significantly, because I really wanted to see where this movie goes and how it's going to tie things in. So, Oxygen is on Netflix. To be honest, with a bunch of movie releases from Amazon, Netflix is trying to do a one-to-one, and it's doing actually not so bad. I would really like to know, if you've seen Oxygen, what you think about it and how you think it could have been improved. I'm Jim from Get Me More, and you know where to find me. Thank you for watching.